George Kilpatrick, Inspiration for the Nation, celebrating people we feel good about. It's time to talk about your money. And who do we have in studio to talk about that is our very own Vicki Brackens, president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, a great sponsor of Inspiration for the Nation. So glad to have Vicki in the studio. And we're going to talk about your money. So we started this series not too long ago talking about the 5 stages, I would say, of wealth building, right? Mm-hmm. We talk about moving from poor to broke to stable to prosperous to rich to wealthy. And we broke down all of what those mean. Now, a lot of us are in various stages of life. We're either in the wealth building years or the retirement years, or I didn't do what I was supposed to do years. But whatever it is, wherever you are, I think, Vicki, we've decided today that we're going to talk about women because you put out a newsletter, Headlines to Watch, and there was a new research study that talks about women and the influence that they have on the family finances. So let's go into that a little bit.
Certainly. As you said, George, every week we produce a newsletter online called Headlines to Watch. In fact, if anyone wants to contact me through LinkedIn, you can actually read that each week. But what the research has shown, which we knew, but sometimes you know something, but until you get all the data around it, you really don't realize what an impact it has, is that women play what we would call an outsized role in the financial decision-making process. In fact, in the survey that was done, which was released last week, 98% of women said that they are the sole or joint decision-maker for banking, and 84% held joint or full responsibility for family investments. But also, the research showed that in general, whether they are inheritors or whether they are in control of the finances, women are woefully unprepared for the roles that they have been given or they have inherited or that they've been forced into. And I thought about that over and over and over again. I said, I'm a woman, okay? If we are responsible for such a large segment of those decisions, yet we are unprepared, what does that say about how families are going to survive, how families are going to prosper, how families are going to grow in their overall well-being as far as their finances are concerned? So that tells me one very important thing. Women need to have, first of all, more not only education, but more guts.
Really?
To go out and get the education that they need, to feel empowered and not be afraid to ask the questions that are necessary, and to seek advice and seek resources that will help them improve as far as their preparedness is concerned.
Yeah, it's interesting. The headline in this case is women are unprepared to inherit wealth or pass it on.
Yes, okay, or pass it on. I started working on, in fact, I'm glad you went into the pass it on. I started working on a segment with a young lady here in the area, and I'm going to do one of those, what you call infamous shout-outs, because she just graduated from Lemoyne, Amari Pollard, who's in the communications area, on what we call Zero No More. Mm-hmm. What Zero No More is a conversation that we're developing on we must stop starting each generation at zero. Mm-hmm. So that, as we do so, we put ourselves in the race, but we're not equipped to win the race. Mm-hmm. What we do for legacy building, how we pass on wealth, not only pass it on, but prepare the next generation to move from point A to point B, generation after generation, is something that not only do we need to focus on, we have a responsibility to make sure that it happens.
You talked about women having the courage to get the. What do they need? What else do they need to do?
Organize. Mm-hmm. Organize their finances. Most often when I'm working with someone, whether it be male or female, there's a disorganization around the finances. It's not that you are bad. We run 100% of the time. Many times we have dual responsibilities, not only work and home, but possibly other family members. We need to organize our finances so that we have a clear picture of what we have, what the gap spaces are, what the resources are that are being underutilized. For example, many times I find that the benefits at work, which are provided to us, are not being accessed. We're not participating fully in our 401k plans. We're not utilizing the insurance coverages that are available to us at a very discounted rate. We're not actually attending the workshops that are being provided by employers to help with the education process. So we need to organize our finances so that we understand what we have, what's the gap space, and what needs to be done to move us forward.
What's funny about this, though, Vicki Brackens, is that women often are making some of those decisions around the family. I think you pointed that out.
Yeah.
Like they're the ones doing the books
80-40,
and things of that
exactly.
nature.
Okay.
And even still, they don't have this.
No, okay. Think about, I'm not going to pick on you, George, but think about your day. Okay?
Right.
You come home, hopefully, okay, in time for dinner.
Hopefully.
Okay. Possibly your wife has cooked dinner for you.
Possibly.
I'm not going there. Okay. But
Lord.
she's already.
She's doing her thing
5,
too.
6 things
right,
before.
Right. She ain't sitting on.
It's almost like an octopus dance. We got our hands all over the place.
Who gonna pick up? Well, this one's got that.
And we know that. Okay, so the bills come in.
Right.
We know they have to be paid. We just pay them. Okay, but we don't necessarily organize the process so we can see, are the charges correct? Were we getting charges that didn't belong to us?
Right.
Are there better interest rates that we could apply for, okay, as far as our credit cards? Mm-hmm. We are not viewing the information. We're just doing. Mm-hmm. That's what I mean by organizing, okay? So that you can actually see what's happening in your life. That's one of the first things that when we go through the financial planning process, and what I call the intake process, is just give me all the stuff, because that's what most of us look at it as. Just here's all my stuff, and put it into some type of system that we can now review it and have actionable information versus just data just stuff all over the place. Okay.
All right, Vicki.
Okay. Now there are lots of other things, but I know we're close.
No, go ahead.
Well, I also spend some time just having conversations about, if I back up for a second here, it's kind of like, was it Arsenio Hall, things that make you go, okay, and have a conversation about what is money.
Okay, right.
Okay, there's lots of definitions out there about what is money. But over time, what I've realized is that money is actually a claim on human labor. Mm-hmm. When you are earning $1, the only way for that dollar to be earned is that somebody had to do something. Things don't just fall from the air.
Right.
Okay, it's a claim on human labor. And I want everyone to, especially women, to view it that way, because if it's a claim on my labor, and the only way labor takes place is through an increment of time, it's a claim on a portion of my time in my life. So every action around money should be viewed as I am giving away or utilizing a part of my life that can never be recovered again.
Well, but I think I just want to amplify what you just said, especially around the use of our time.
That's correct.
Right?
Exactly.
Because time has value.
Time.
And if you give your time away, then you're not giving yourself enough value. Unless it's for a philanthropic cause and you've made the decision to do that.
Right, but you said the magic word. You made the decision. Okay, so when you look at the purchases that we make, or the things that we use money for, just view it as far as this is a value against my time,
right,
which is a value against my life. Because when God brought us down here, they gave us a certain amount. Mm-hmm. We cannot put another minute into it, so view it that seriously with everything that you do. Vicki Brackens.
That's some good stuff. So we started this off talking about women, mm-hmm, and the fact that the studies show that women make a lot of the financial decisions in the family, for example, the majority of them, but yet they're unprepared to inherit wealth or pass it on. And so we want to stop the zero sum.
Right. Zero, no more. We don't want anyone for the next generation to start at zero again. Think of it like a race.
Yeah.
When you're on the track,
right,
and I love the 220 and the 440s, okay, especially the relays. The outside lanes never finish first, or rarely finish first. Not because they're not in the race, but because they're starting at the last position over and over
They have to
again.
come over eventually.
Exactly.
To win the race. All right. Well, guess what? With you, Vicki, we're about to win the race.
Thank you, George.
Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC. How do we find you?
You can find me on Facebook. Okay, you can also, or on LinkedIn. I said Facebook, excuse me, LinkedIn. Okay, Vicki Brackens, okay, Brackens Financial Solutions Network at www.brackens, BRACKENS, FSN.com, or through my phone number, obviously, 315-428-8448.
Okay, Vicki Brackens, thank you so much. Inspiration for the Nation. Follow George Kilpatrick, Inspiration for the Nation, on Twitter at Inspiration by GK. On Instagram, too, Inspiration by GK, and like my Facebook page, Inspiration for the Nation, George Kilpatrick.